Okay. Wow. Okay. Welcome to the live stream on the Transport Evolved channel. We don't normally do live streams on here, but there's some breaking news. I say breaking news. It kind of broke about 20 minutes ago. And I was having my lunch and watching the Brett Kavanaugh hearing, and therefore I missed it. I'm a bad person, journalist person. Anyway, Elon Musk's getting sued by the Securities and Exchanges Commission. This is after that we're considering going private at 420, funding secured tweet. Lots of people are upset about it, as you might expect. Lots of people are frustrated, but this live stream really is just to give you an idea of where we're at, what's going on, what we can expect next. Obviously, this isn't the first time. Let's go with some facts here. This isn't the first time that Elon Musk has been sued. I mean, it's not like the first time we've ever seen Elon Musk face court actions. But it does appear that Elon Musk is now being sued by the Securities and Exchanges Commission, and paperwork has been submitted, and there is a document which I'm going to be reading from. It's civil action number 1:18-CV-8865. It's a jury trial demand. The plaintiff, the United States Securities and Exchanges Commission, alleges as follows. The case involves a series of false and misleading statements made by Elon Musk, the chief executive officer of Tesla Inc., Tesla, on August 7th, 2018, regarding taking Tesla, a publicly traded company, private. Musk's statements disseminated by Twitter falsely indicated that, should he so choose, it was virtually certain that he could take Tesla private at a purchase price that reflected a substantial premium over Tesla's stock's then current share price. That's a word and a half. That funding for this multi-billion-dollar transaction had been secured, and that only a contingency was a shareholder vote. In truth and in fact, Musk had not even discussed, much less confirmed, key deal terms, including price, with any potential funding source. Would you like me to continue reading this? Would it be helpful? Would it be helpful if we go further here? And I'm just going to read some of the comments here. How long will this last until it's done? Trading legislation is clear. He's gone too far this time. Phil, I kind of agree with you. If the rules are the rules and you break the rules, then them's the rules and you have to deal with the consequence of it. Musk's tweet, while enthusiastic, was misplaced. And I think in retrospect, he probably shouldn't have done what he did. But we've all done things that we shouldn't have done in the past, made bad decisions or whatever. Before I go any further, I just want to plug Transport Evolved Patreon. If you'd like to support us, please go to patreon.com/Transport Evolved. I will put a link here in the thing here, patreon.com/Transport Evolved. If you like what I am doing, please give me a super message. Send me a message on here. I'll read it out and help me out, because obviously in doing this, I'm putting aside one of the other videos that I would be working on, and we've been working a huge number of hours this week. I think I've already worked like 30 something hours this week, and it's only 40 hours something already this week, and it's only Thursday. So back to this. All right, so the first part of that, obviously, I've already read. That was the first point in the summary. The second point in the summary. At approximately 12:48 p.m. EDT on August 7th, 2018, during trading hours, Musk tweeted to his over 22 million Twitter followers, and this is the quote, "I'm considering taking Tesla private at 420, funding secured." We all know that one, right? This statement was false and misleading. alleges the SEC. Over the next 3 hours, Musk made a series of additional materially false and misleading statements via Twitter, including, again, we're quoting, "My hope is all current investors remain with Tesla, even if we're private. Would create special purpose fund enabling anyone to stay with Tesla." Second one, shareholders could either sell at 420 or hold shares and go private. 3, investor support is confirmed. Only reason why this is not certain is that it's contingent on a shareholder vote. All right. This is the third point in the SEC filing. Musk knew or was reckless in not knowing that each of these statements was false and or misleading because he did not have an adequate basis in fact for his assertions. When he made these statements, Musk knew that he had never discussed a going private transaction at 420 per share with any potential funding source, had done nothing to investigate whether it was possible for all current investors to remain with Tesla as a private company via a special purpose fund, and had not confirmed support of Tesla's investors for a potential going private transaction. He also knew that he had not satisfied numerous additional contingencies, the resolution of which was highly uncertain, when he unequivocally declared only reason why this is not certain is that it's contingent on a shareholder vote. Musk's public statements and admission created the misleading impression that taking Tesla private was subject only to Musk choosing to do so and a shareholder vote. Wow, this is quite verbose. Number 4, investors reacted to Musk's August 7 tweets from the time of Musk's first tweet until the close of trading until close of trading on August 7th, Tesla's stock price increased by more than 6% on significantly increased volume and closed up 10.98% from the previous day. Number 5, Musk's false and misleading public statements and admissions caused significant confusion and disruption in the market for Tesla's stock and resulting harm to investors. I'm just going to stop here and put that back in here. I'm going to carry on in a minute. I just want to respond to some of these discussions. Dummy funding secured is just 2 words. You can't twist that into a federal crime. The SEC is being pushed by bears who are making something over nothing as usual. I'm sorry, Jim. When you are, I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. When you are the boss of a company and you make a statement like that during trading hours and you haven't consulted with the board, you haven't consulted with anybody, it's a reckless move. And if it goes against the rules, then it goes against the rules. Now, if Musk had gone, let's talk about the proper way that Musk would have done this. He would have consulted with the board. He would have consulted with whatever advisors, financial advisors they had. Then they would have said, hey, we're going to make an announcement today at, normally they make the announcement immediately following the close of market. So it would be like 5 p.m. Eastern or maybe 4:30 p.m. Eastern. They'd say, okay, we're going to make a statement at close of business. They would have invited all of the financial journalists along, maybe some automotive ones as well. They would have had an investor call. They would have made the announcement. And the thing that I've always stated here is that Musk appears to have known about this way back at the end of when we had the quarterly earnings report. When that took place, Musk already knew about what was potentially going to happen. And if that was a real potential at that point, it should have been in the quarterly earnings report as a looking forward statement. All right, let's go to a little bit more. All right, please be nice with each other in the comment section though, right? Because there's no need to be mean to each other just because, all right? All right, so I'm going to read a little bit more here. You're arguing about whether it was right or not. You agree it's reckless, but not criminal. Well, here the thing is, if the rules say it's criminal, then it's criminal. A few million in fines, probably, says Roland. There we go. All right, let's go back. All right, let's go back. By engaging in the conduct alleged in this complaint, Musk violated and, unless restrained and enjoined, will violate again. So this is the meat of the matter. Section 10B of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 and Rule 10B/5 thereunder. This is the thing here. Nature of proceedings and relief sought. The Commission brings this action against Musk pursuant to Section 21D of the Exchange Act to enjoin the Transaction Act's practices and course of business alleged in this complaint and to seek orders of disgorgement, it's a word and a half, along with the prejudgment interest, civil penalties, and an officer and director bar against Musk, and such further relief as the court may deem appropriate. In other words, it's saying, hey, you did a bad thing. We think you did a bad thing. We've investigated it. We're now bringing charges against you because we think that there is evidence, and it will go to a judicial trial, which is what they're asking for. And if found guilty in that judicial trial, Musk will be barred from being a CEO of a company. He will also be subject to fines and other penalties to be decided. All right, let's stop and go from here. Considering means thinking about, right? Well, again, it would be like, you've got to learn how to, keep your language smart, right? It's something we've learned, right, from the current president of the United States. You just can't open your mouth and words come out and hope that, and turn around and say it was all a joke or I didn't mean it. If you're a public figure and you're somebody who is in the public interest, or in the public spotlight, and you are in control of either a large company or a country or some other big entity, it's your responsibility to make sure that you conduct yourself appropriately. Yeah, Mr. Trump does still do it. Doesn't make it right, though, does it? Any company, SpaceX as well. Yes, if he is found guilty by jury under this trial, it's a jury trial. Remember that. Then he will be barred from being a company CEO. Can the SEC really deem that Musk can't keep his roles, or do they stick end the direction of Tesla Inc. and it's up to Tesla internally on what they do with him and the rule? No, if you are found to have violated the Security and Exchanges Commission, and you have acted badly in their eyes, and you're found guilty of malpractice, then you will be barred from being a CEO. And if your company if you try and remain at your company, I think your company gets delisted or worse. So there we go. SpaceX is a private company, so I think that doesn't apply to SpaceX. I think you're probably right there. All right. Next part of this proceedings, jurisdiction and venue. The court has jurisdiction over this action pursuant to sections 21D and 21E and 27 of the Exchanges Act. Venue in this district is proper pursuant to section 27 of the Exchanges Act. Defendant transacts business in this district, and certain of the act's practices, transactions, and courses of business constituting the violations alleged in this complaint occurred within the district and were affected directly or indirectly by making use of means, instruments, or instrumentalities of transportational communication to interstate commerce, or the mails, blah, blah, blah. Musk regularly communicates via Twitter with users located in this district, which is an interesting thing. Musk wasn't there when he made the tweet, but because his tweet was seen by or acted upon by people in the New York district, then in this particular court's district, then that means that they can file against him. In addition, Tesla is traded on the NASDAQ Global Select Market, which is headquartered in the district, and trades in Tesla securities were handled and executed by trading personnel located in this district during the period relevant to the allegations. All right, defendant. is Elon Musk, age 47, resident in Los Angeles, California. He co-founded Tesla Inc. in 2003, and since that time has been the chairman of Tesla's board of directors and largest stockholder. He was named chief executive officer in 2008. Musk oversees all product development, engineering, and design of Tesla's products. Relevant entity: Tesla, which designs, develops, manufactures, and sells electric vehicles and energy generation and storage systems, is incorporated in Delaware with its principal place of business in Palo Alto, California. Tesla conducted an initial public offering in 2010, and at all relevant times, its common stock was registered with the Commission pursuant to Section 12B of the Exchanges Act and was publicly traded on the NASDAQ Global Select Market under the ticker symbol TSLA. All right, factual allegations. Musk created a profile on social media applications Twitter in 2009. Since that time, Musk often used Twitter to communicate about Tesla's business. Tesla's chief financial officer described Musk's Twitter statements as a strong channel of marketing, with Musk acting as a spokesman for Tesla. And this is interesting. This is an important thing. So the CFO, I don't know which CFO we're talking about at this point because there's been several, but has basically said, Tesla's doing its marketing through Elon Musk on Twitter, which makes Tesla's Twitter account effectively an official voice for Tesla. It's a little bit like me acting on Twitter. I've got my own personal Twitter account. And if you note on my Twitter page, my Twitter page says, and I don't think Elon's does, so let's go here and find out. Let's see what happens. So Elon doesn't have any kind of no bio of any description. If you go to my personal Twitter account, it's very clear. It says personal account of Nikki Gordon Bloomfield. It then says boss at Transport Evolved, YouTuber, Oberwist, mum, nerd, cosplayer, plays chimichanga, fox, and Queenie Deerheart, she, her. So it says everything about me, but it also says it's my personal account, despite acknowledging that I am the boss at Transport Evolved. So if I say something on my personal channel, I might tweet, and I do tweet about Transport Evolved on my personal channel, but I'm clear it's my personal channel. And I think maybe in Musk's case, Musk is seen as the spokesperson for Tesla. I don't know. You could argue that I'm seen the same way. All right. Who was harmed by the tweet? Nobody. He could have gone private if he wanted because funding could have been secured. So truth is his defense. Well, here's the thing, Jim, right? In the business world, people like things to be written down. And while yeah, verbal agreements are a thing and you can use verbal agreements as proof, generally people prefer them to be written down. And in this case, there doesn't appear to have been anything. I may be wrong. So we'll see. I do think, though, that if you're going, well, everyone's having a go at Tesla, then I think you need to kind of sit down and just have a think about this for a second, because the reality here is that everybody has to play by the same rules. And you have to ask yourself, okay, if this was some other company, imagine if it was Apple and it was Tim Cook saying this, or some other company that that's well known and is publicly traded. How would you feel about that? And what would the impact be if it was another company like an automaker that made a similar statement? Now, there are people violating SEC regulations on a regular basis. That's why they have an investigative department of the SEC, right? That's why they have people who undertake investigations when things are seen to be incorrect, not working, not playing by the rules. If I didn't pay my taxes, I would get investigated by the IRS, right? They would investigate me. They'd go, well, why are you not paying your taxes? So I keep documentary proof to say, okay, yes, I paid my taxes. This is my income, blah, 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 blah. And I think we've got to be honest about this with Tesla. If Tesla has done something that it shouldn't have done, then we need to be honest about it. All right. Same, I can't sue President Trump for my losses due to my tweets. All right. So I'm going to go back to this document. It's quite long. Okay, so keep telling me if you want me to stop. On November 5th, 2013, Tesla publicly filed a Form 8K with the commission stating that it intended to use, and this is another nail in the coffin. Okay. Unfortunately, guys, this is the nail in the coffin. Are you ready? This is not going to be good. All right. I'm just rearranging my window so I can see you and read this. All right. On November 5th, 2013, so bonfire night, Tesla publicly filed a Form 8K with the commission stating that it intended to use Musk's Twitter account as a means of announcing material information to the public about Tesla and its products and services, and has encouraged investors to review the information about Tesla published by Musk via his Twitter account. Guys. Oh, man. It's that thing, okay? That Form 8K, which is making a material statement saying, okay, Musk is going to be using this as a way of announcing stuff for Tesla. And that's bad. That is bad. So at this point, it does kind of make it pretty obvious. Personally, I think it makes it pretty obvious that Musk was over the line. In August 2018, over 22 million people, including members of the press, followed Musk on Twitter. I'm a member of the press. I follow him. His tweets are published instantaneously to those people and were also publicly available to anyone with internet access. Again, also true. Musk's statements regarding short sellers. In August 2018, in 2018, stock analysts and investors increasingly began to question whether Tesla could meet its previously announced production targets and began to earn sufficient cash in order to sustain its operations and pay its existing debt load. By August 2018, more than $13 billion worth of Tesla shares were being shorted, meaning that they were sold to investors who did not own them at the time of the sale. Investors who sell stock short typically believe the price of the stock will fall and hope to buy the stock at lower price to cover their short positions and earn a profit. That's how short selling works. If the price of the stock rises, short sellers who then exit their short positions by purchasing the stock at the higher prices will incur losses. Musk had complained that Tesla had been unfairly targeted by short sellers and predicted that short sellers would be burned. For example, on May 4th, 2018, Musk tweeted, and a short burn of the century coming soon. Flamethrowers should arrive just in time. On June 17, 2018, Musk tweeted that short sellers have about 3 weeks before their short position explodes. Now, let's just back up for a second. I'm going to read your things. Okay. So is it now okay to panic? Did you like my don't panic one? Okay. If Musk hadn't just tweeted every single time and behaved like a grown-up at the finance call, Tesla might be much, much higher. And unfortunately, EV panic, I kind of agree with you on that. They have to prove that funding was not secured. Okay, but it wasn't. I mean, there's been no material evidence produced by anyone yet to say that funding was there, other than Elon's word. While somebody's word is very important, you need documentary evidence as well. All right. Why is it you make big thing about it? You know it's effing nothing. I can tell that you are somebody who worships at the altar, and that's great. Whatever makes you happy, whatever floats your boat. It's okay to be idealistic. It's okay to live in a world where your ideas and your goals are good and true, and you want to change the world. And I genuinely believe that's what Elon wants to do. And I genuinely believe that's what Tesla is aiming to do, to change the world, to make the world a better place. And for that, yes, they should be given support, encouragement, but they have to live in the real world with everybody else. And that means adhering to the rules. When they break the rules, having to deal with that. And I think it's pretty clear, especially given that Form 8K that says, Elon's going to be tweeting from his Twitter account, and it's part of the Tesla announcement process. So it's I'm not being a bear here. I'm trying to be a realist. And if you think I'm being a bear or I'm trying to short stock or something else, well, you can just go swivel. I have zero in any company. And so, my goal here is to try and cover this in a very honest, let's examine the facts and see how they corroborate with where the law stands and what the regulations are, and we go from there. Twitter, Facebook, and other social media can be used to make public material statements as long as Tesla has officially stated that it will be one of the official means for release of material info, which is what Tesla did. It said, okay, Elon is going to be releasing official statements. We're going to speaking for the company through his Twitter account. And so when Elon says thinking about taking Tesla private, funding secured, that period has got him into a lot of trouble as well. Thinking about taking Tesla private is okay, right? Thinking about taking Tesla private, funding secured, is not okay. So, all right, let's go back, because you're all having a field day in the comments section. Also, it's not about big oil. I hope that's a joke. I hope people genuinely don't think that it's still kind of the world has moved on, I think, quite a lot. And thank you, Sparks. I love what you just said, so that's cool. All right, so what's wrong with me? I can't pronounce things. Preliminary discussions regarding taking Tesla private. Okay, beginning. This is again back to the to this document, which you can all see for yourself. I'm going to be. I can't do that. All right. People are allowed to screw up. Someone's saying, well, Elon's allowed to screw up. He is human. Yes, he is. But if you kill someone by running over them with your car, you have to face the consequences. If you do something that breaks the rules of the SEC, you have to face consequences. I mean, it's as simple as that, really, at the end of the day. I'm really sorry to say that. Anyway, so preliminary discussions regarding taking Tesla private. Beginning January 2017, Musk had 3 or 4 in-person meetings with representatives of a sovereign investment fund, the fund. During these meetings, according to Musk, the lead representatives of the fund expressed a verbal desire to make a large investment in Tesla and establish a Tesla production facility in the Middle East. Carrot. In late July 2018, Musk and representatives of the funds had not spoken for many months. On July 28, 2018, a representative of the fund requested a meeting with Musk. On the evening of July 31st, Musk and his chief of staff met with 3 representatives of the fund at Tesla's factory in Fremont, California, for approximately 30 to 45 minutes. Tesla's CFO joined midway through the meeting. Again, this happened before the earnings call, which is why I think it should have been mentioned in the earnings call. According to Musk, at the meeting, the fund's lead representative told Musk that the fund had recently acquired almost 5% of Tesla's common stock on the open market, expressed interest in taking Tesla private, and confirmed that he was empowered to make investment decisions for the fund. Musk later stated that he assumed, without confirming, that the lead fund representative was proposing a standard going private transaction, but the terms of any such deal were not discussed. During the July 31st meeting, the lead fund representative again raised the prospect of establishing a production facility in the Middle East. According to Musk, he expressed openness but made no commitment. Musk assumed that whether a Tesla production facility in the Middle East was a precondition of the fund's willingness to take Tesla private would depend on the amount of capital the fund was required to commit to the transaction. Musk did not discuss his assumption with representatives of the fund. A July 31st meeting had a discussion of even the most fundamental terms of a proposed going private transaction. For example, there was no discussion at the July 31st meeting of 1, any dollar amount or specific ownership percentage of the fund's investment in a going private transaction, 2, any acquisition premium to be offered to the current Tesla shareholders, 3, any restrictions on foreign ownership of a significant stake in Tesla, 4, the fund's available liquid capital, 5, whether the fund had any past experience participating in a going private transaction, 6, any regulatory hurdles in completion to the going private transaction, or 7, the board approval process necessary to take Tesla private. Musk has acknowledged that the July 31st meeting was the most specific discussion of a transaction to take Tesla private between him and representatives of the fund. According to Musk, at the close of the July 31st meeting, the lead representative of the fund asked Musk to tell the fund how he wanted to do a going private transaction, and represented that so long as the terms were reasonable, the fund would be fine with them. That's like Musk acknowledged that no specific deal terms had been established at the meeting, and that there was no discussion of what would or would not be considered reasonable. Nothing was exchanged in writing, and there was no discussion of confidentiality. This is also an important thing. Musk did not communicate with representatives of the fund again about a going private transaction until August 10, 3 days after his August 7 statements. On August 2nd, 2018, after the market closed, that's the one to do it. Musk sent an email with the subject, offer to take Tesla private at $4.20 to Tesla's board of directors, chief financial officer, and general counsel. In the email, Musk explained his reasons for wanting to take Tesla private, including that being public subjects Tesla to constant defamatory attacks by short-selling community, resulting in great harm to our valuable brand. In the email, Musk asked that the matter be put to a shareholder vote at the earliest opportunity, and stated that the offer expires in 30 days. So at this point, Musk's done everything right, okay? According to Musk, they calculated the $4.20 price per share based on a 20% premium over that day's closing share price, because he thought 20% was a standard premium in a going private transaction. The calculator resulted in a price of $4.19, and Musk stated that he rounded up the price to $4.20 because he'd recently learned about the number significant in marijuana culture and thought his girlfriend would find it funny, which admittedly is not a great reason to pick a price. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. Hi, Alex. This is hilarious. Oh, dear. All right. Okay. We're talking about a company that's worth a lot of money, and he's making marijuana jokes. All right. I'm reading from the statement, Alex. All right. Let me check on what's going on over here. Brett Kavanaugh is still being questioned. By Senator Harris. This is going to be fun. Hang on.
Are you willing to have them do it? The witness testimony.
Okay, they're still being argued. They're still arguing. All right. Pull it back in. All right. Where am I reading from? I'm reading from the official documents submitted in New York to the courts. All right. Going on. Prior to Musk's meeting with the fund representatives on the evening of July 31st, Tesla stock had closed at approximately $298 per share. According Accordingly, at the time of the meeting, the price per share with a 20% premium would have been approximately $358. Between the July 31st meeting and Musk's August 2nd email to Tesla's board, Tesla's share price had increased over 17% following the company's August 1st earnings announcement. Musk realized that a spike in Tesla's share price might make a going private transaction not feasible because it would require an investor in the transaction to pay a premium on a spike. Musk, however, said that he assumed that confirming with the fund or any other funding source that the 17% spike in Tesla's share price did not affect the feasibility of taking Tesla private at that time. Musk did not discuss a $420 price per share with any potential funding source for a Tesla going private transaction prior to sending his email to Tesla's board. According to Musk, he thought there was a lot of uncertainty regarding the potential going private transaction at the time of his August 2nd email to the board, but it was worth investigating. He believed at the time that the likelihood of consummation of a transaction, that's a great way of putting it, was about 50%. Okay. In response to Musk's August 2nd email about taking Tesla private, Tesla's board had a telephonic meeting with Musk on the night of August 3rd. During that call, Musk informed the board that the fund was interested in funding a going private transaction. Musk also told the board members that he wanted existing investors to stay with the company. According to Musk, at least one board member told him that it would be really difficult for small investors to remain shareholders in private Tesla. During the August 3rd call, Musk told the board that he wanted to contact existing shareholders to assess their interest in participating in a going private transaction. The board authorized Musk to contact certain investors and asked him to report back to the board on those conversations. Again, still happening normally. And this is where the car crash happens. Between the July 31st meeting with the representatives of the fund and the morning of August 7th, Musk did not have any further substantive communications with the representatives of the fund, did not discuss a going private transaction at a share price of $420 with any potential funding source, have a conversation with any private equity firm representative about the process, but did not actually contact any additional potential strategic investors to assess their interest in participating in a going private transaction. 4, did not provide Tesla's board of directors with a more specific proposal to take Tesla private. 5, did not contact existing Tesla shareholders to assess their interest in remaining invested in Tesla as a private company. 6, did not formally retain any advisors to assist with a going private transaction. 7, did not determine whether retail investors could remain invested in Tesla as a private company. 8, did not determine whether there were restrictions on liquid holdings by Tesla's institutional investors, and 9, did not determine what regulatory approvals would be required for such a transaction or whether they could be satisfied. So at this point, like, all this stuff needs to be done, nothing has happened. But on August 6th, Musk discussed a potential going private transaction with a private equity fund with previous experience with such transactions. During this call, Musk mentioned that to execute the potential transaction, the number of Tesla shareholders needed to be below 300. At that time, Tesla had over 800 institutional shareholders and many more individual shareholders. According to the private equity fund partner, the transaction structure that Musk was contemplating was unprecedented in his experience. These uncertainties notwithstanding, on Tuesday, August 7, 2018, Musk published a series of statements about a transaction to take Tesla private using his personal Twitter account. Musk did not consult with Tesla's board of directors, any other Tesla employees, or any outside advisors on these tweets before publishing them. Ooh. Wow. All right, I'm going to go back to this. I don't even know where you're going with this. All right. I told you where I'm reading it from. So if he's removed from being CEO, would he also be removed from the board? Yeah, I believe so. Looks like an opportunity to buy right before Q3 earnings. Corporate heads have a duty to be profitable. A Twitter rant about strategies protecting a company do not violate that duty. Was it really a Twitter rant? The stock is like a manic depressive girlfriend I used to date once. When she's high, she's great. When she's down, you can buy her furniture for a song. Oh, God. If he beat his girlfriend, would it increase or decrease the share price? What? No. Why are you chugging pure vanilla extract? I'm not. I'm drinking kombucha. So, all right. I'm gonna... All right. All right, back to this. All right, so the discussion in this chat, I'm just reading your chats now. Some people are saying, well, he didn't mean to do it. He didn't do it intending to commit fraud. He was super excited. Look, it doesn't matter. If you do something as the CEO of a company and you don't intend the outcome to be what it is, you're still accountable, right? And unfortunately, as CEO of Tesla and chairman of the board, the buck stops with Elon. It just does. You can't, even if you had the best of intentions, you can't turn around. Sorry, I'm being asked some questions. All right, so do you want me to carry on reading? Do you want me to carry on reading? We are almost done. We are almost done. We're now really kind of all right. Approximately 12:48 p.m. EDT on Tuesday, August 7th, Musk, using his mobile phone, published a tweet, "I'm considering taking Tesla private at $420, funding secured." Musk published this tweet in the middle of the day's official market trading. Immediately after this tweet, the trading volume and the price of Tesla shares spiked. Over the next few hours, Musk made additional statements about taking Tesla private. At approximately 1:15 p.m. EDT, Musk responded to another Twitter's user questions, "At what price?" by repeating 420. At approximately 1:23 p.m. EDT, about 35 minutes after Musk's initial tweet about taking Tesla private, Tesla's chief financial officer sent a text message to Musk. "Elon, I'm sure you have thought about a broader communication on your rationale and structure to employees and potential investors. Would it help if Tesla's head of communications, Tesla's general counsel, and I draft a blog post or employee email for you?" Musk responded, "Yeah, that would be great." Tesla's chief financial officer then replied, "Working on it. We'll send it to you shortly." All right. I just hit a message here because I think some of you are being dicks. Where are we? So then obviously this goes across all of the tweets that Elon sends, okay? Which I'm sure you're all familiar with. At approximately 3:16, Elon Musk sent an email to Tesla employees. It was published publicly at 3:32 p.m. EDT. And again, this is where things went wrong. A few minutes after publishing in the blog post at approximately 3:36 p.m. EDT, Musk tweeted a link in a tweet that stated Investor support is confirmed. Only reason why this is not certain is that it's contingent on a shareholder vote. Neither Musk's tweet nor the blog post provided any further information about context about the meeting of Musk's statement. Investor support confirmed or disclosed any contingencies other than a shareholder vote that would have to be satisfied in order to take Tesla private. Approximately 9 minutes later at 3:45 p.m. EDT, NASDAQ lifted the trading halt on Tesla shares. All right. Then we've got investor statements. And we go from there. So, and then the rest of this talks about all right, this is an important bit here. Musk, this is section 68 of the filing. Musk knew or was reckless in not knowing his statements were false and misleading. Musk made his false and misleading public statements about taking Tesla private using his mobile phone in the middle of the active trading day. He did not discuss the content of the statements with anyone else prior to publishing them to his over 22 million Twitter followers and anyone else with access to the internet. He also did not inform NASDAQ that he intended to make his public announcement, as NASDAQ rules required. Okay, that's the first rule he broke. Musk's statements were premised on a long series of baseless assumptions, oh God, and were contrary to the facts that Musk knew. By the July 31st meeting with representatives of the fund and his August 7 misstatements, Musk knew that he, 1, had not agreed upon any terms for going private transaction with the fund or any other funding source, 2, had no further substantive communications with representatives of the fund beyond their 30 to 45-minute meeting on July 31st, 3, had never discussed a going private transaction at a share price of $420 per share with any potential funding source, 4, had not contacted any additional potential strategic investors to assess their interest in participating in the going private transaction. 5, had not contacted existing Tesla shareholders to assess their interest in remaining invested in Tesla as a private company. 6, had not formally retained any legal or financial advisors to assist with the going private transaction. 7, had not determined whether retail investors could remain invested in Tesla as a private company. 8, had not determined whether there were any restrictions on liquid holding by Tesla's institutional investors. And 9, had not determined what regulatory approvals should be required or whether they would be satisfied. In addition, Musk knew that Tesla's board had not yet voted on any proposal or authorized a shareholder vote for it, and in fact, Musk had not even submitted a formal proposal to Tesla's board. My email just went. Someone's trying to someone's trying to reach me with regard to this, but I don't think there's any new information in here, so we're good. All right. Musk omitted material facts. Musk's statement on August 7th also omitted material information. Musk had a duty to disclose material facts necessary to make his statements misleading. Despite receiving numerous inquiries from journalists, research analysts, and current Tesla investors indicating they were confused by Musk's tweet and that the August 7 blog post had not remedied that confusion, Musk did not attempt to clarify the August 7 statements until the blog post update on Tesla taking Tesla private on August 13. And the allegation is that Musk's tweets caused market chaos and harmed Tesla investors. All right. This is the final bit. Claim for relief. Violations of Section 10B of the Securities and Exchange Act and Rule 10B-5 thereafter. Paragraphs 1 through 77 are hereby re-alleged and incorporated herein to reference. So those are the paragraphs that I've been reading out to you. Defendant with Scienter, in connection with the purchase of, sale, or securities as set forth above, directly or indirectly made untrue statements of material fact and omitted to state material facts necessary to make the statements made in light of the circumstances under which they were made, not misleading by the use of the means of instrumentalities or interstate commerce, and by the mails and the facilities of a national security exchange. That was a law will continue to violate Section 10B of the Exchange Act and Rule 10B-5 thereunder. Wherefore, the Commission respectfully requests that the Court enter a final judgment finding the defendant violated the provisions of the federal security laws as alleged herein, permanently restraining and enjoining defendant from directly or indirectly engaging in a conduct in violation of Section 10B of the Exchange Act and Rule 10B-5 thereunder, ordering defendant to disgorge with prejudgment interest any ill-gotten gains received as a result of the violations alleged therein, ordering defendant to pay civil penalties pursuant to Section 21D(3) of the Exchange Act, ordering that the defendant be prohibited from acting as an officer or director of any issuer that has a class of securities registered pursuant to Section 12 of the Exchange Act, or is required to file reports pursuant to Section 15 of the Exchange Act, and granting such other and further relief as this court may deem just, equitable, or necessary. That is that. If you want to read it yourself, I will put a link to the file on my website. In fact, I can probably share it here. Copy link. Here we go. Let's see if this works. There you go. There is the document for you to peruse at your own free will. So that's it. That's what's going on. Let's go back and read some of these tweets. If funding was not secured, I think he's in trouble. I think you're probably right, Roland. And I think I'm reading through these comments now, and there's not a lot I can actually discuss here because I don't want to kind of get into dangerous territory. Remember, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but how can he plead bargain if the laws say he cannot? I don't know. I don't know if he's responded yet. Let's see if Elon's responded on Twitter. I don't even want to know if he has, really. Maybe I will. All right, twitter.com, Elon Musk. Nothing. Which is not a surprise. So what does this mean? Well, it means that Tesla is in a position where it has another court case against it right now. This is not the first time that this has happened by any stretch of the imagination. You know, Tesla's had to deal with court cases before, and that's not a big deal. But, you know, we'll see. Seeing the G4 Cube, that came all the way from England, by the way. He's been working 100-hour weeks, something that had to give. Yeah, something had to give. I've been working 70-hour weeks, so maybe something needs to give for me too. All right. This is interesting. Thanks, Megan. The usual outcome, according to the Financial Times, is that the SEC fines them and they have to promise not to do it again. It's true. It is against Elon specifically, not Tesla. Yeah. You're right. Now I've corrected it. Now I will correct the correct the live stream title because I think I got it wrong. So please excuse me while I do that. Excuse me. No, I did say Elon Musk's getting sued. Is that Elon right now? Should I answer it? No, I'm not going to answer it. It's probably Salem.
Hello, please leave a message after the tone. Hi, this is Can Oregon turn red? Hi, this is former Representative Jeff Crump calling to invite you to this year's conservative gathering called Gathering of the Eagles, Oregon. This Saturday, September 29th, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have great conservative speakers like former Congressman Bob McEwen of the Center for National
Can Oregon turn red?
And many others, including grassroots training from FreedomWorks and the Western Liberty Network. The event is near Jefferson, Oregon. Please go to gatheringoftheeagles.com and to sign up. Again, this is former Representative Jeff Crump inviting you to this Saturday, the 29th great event. It's where conservatives want to be. Again, go to gatheringoftheeagles.com and get your tickets today. Come out and help us turn.
Right, okay, so that was wasting of my time.
You have one.
No, I don't want to listen to it. God. That was funny. Thank you for watching that with me. All right, so where are we? So, I mean, that's the situation as it stands right now. I'm afraid I have to go in a minute, because I would like to go home at some point tonight. I think that my take on this is as follows. Elon did something, whether intentionally or unintentionally, that was stupid and against the regulations, and he has to deal with that. I don't think anybody's out to get Tesla. I don't think the SEC is somehow being pushed by Tesla shorts to get their own back on Tesla. I mean, you would have to think, like, you'd have to be super freaking paranoid. I'm sorry, you would have to be super freaking paranoid to believe that. And I don't believe that people are that corrupt. I mean, there are corrupt people, but I don't believe that people would, you know, if people are that terrible to one another, then I'm just going to go and hide in a corner and rock backwards and forwards. It's not subjective. It's not subjective. I don't know how many ways I can say this. If you break the law or you break the rules, and it's very clearly defined what those rules are, and you break them, even if you're doing it unintentionally, you still get in trouble. You know, if you were caught speeding at 100 miles an hour in a 55 and the cop said, "Did you not realize it was 55?" and you were like, "No," they'd still get you in trouble, right? It's stupid. And this infighting at the moment, I think we're not doing ourselves we're not doing ourselves a service as the EV industry at this point, because by protecting everything that Tesla does or says, or Elon Musk does or says, we're actually lying to ourselves, rather than, you know, we have to face the facts. And the facts at the moment are that it looks as if something was done that shouldn't have been done, and the consequences have to be followed through on. It's not anybody trying to get anybody else in trouble. You know, Tesla has been given a carte blanche for a really long time. I mean, I made a blog post about it today. The post that went up today was, you know, are Tesla fans the reason why Tesla's succeeding? The answer is yes. But at the same point, you know, the founders and the owners that are supporting Tesla and giving Tesla free passes are also the same people who could ultimately get Tesla into trouble, because mainstream customers, buyers, are not going to have that same forgiving way. All right, let's see where we're at. Yes, can we stop with the both Tesla? Yes, anonymous freak, I love you. Come over to the office because I know you're local. I owe you a drink. It is, you know, you have to live, you have to live in a world with other people, and you have to play by society's rules. And if the rules exist, they're probably there for a good reason. If you want to change the rules, then there's very simple ways of doing that. Well, not so simple, but you go through the process of changing the rules. You go to whoever makes the laws or the rules, and you petition them to change them, and you persuade them why they need to be changed. You don't just shout and scream about how unfair it is. You can't make friends that way. All right. The rules are there to protect people and to make sure that we all operate in a similar, you know, a similar framework. You know, if there were no rules about taxes, for example, then we'd all be in trouble because we'd be moaning about things, you know, being the way that they're not there. How do rules protect you? Well, rules protect you to ensure that your world operates the way that it works in a safe way, in a safe environment. The SEC rules are there to protect both the companies and their shareholders, whether they be, you know, investors who are from institutions, or whether they're, you know, Ma and Pa who've put all their retirement savings into this one company that they really support. Now, that would be a really stupid investment decision, but there are people who do that, who have their stocks and shares, who are relying on it for their retirement. And those rules are there to make sure that those people don't suddenly lose all their money. And yes, stocks and shares is a form of gambling in some ways, people have said, but it's a way that we all make money. You know, if you've got a 401k, if you've got an IRA, any kind of investment plan, retirement plan, you are connected to stocks. Now, the chances are that you're not directly connected to stocks. You're probably in a mutual fund and you don't have any access to where those funds go. I know that we have a mutual fund somewhere. It was interesting because my wife works for a company and she had to go through an audit recently to make sure that all of her investments, and by that I mean her IRA, her 401k, were held by companies that weren't connected to the company that she works for, to ensure that she was in compliance, so that she couldn't profit from being involved, you know, from not insider trading, but insider connections. And we have to have these protections because otherwise people would take advantage. All right, let's see where we're going. Oh yeah, Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, the correlations between those two, and obviously, you know, Steve Jobs was fired and came back, but Apple nearly died in the process. And now because they sue him, how much are all people losing? Well, There are lots of people getting angry in here. Lots of trolls. Yes, but hadn't they fired him? They probably died a long time ago. Yes. Yes. And if you remember, I was somebody who said that Elon they should split up the role of CEO and chairman of the board, because Tesla's got to that point now. Tesla's got to a size where that would normally happen. It would be par for the course for Tesla's board to split those two roles up, and it's not happened. So where do we go from here? All right, guys. I'm going to go while you all are angry with each other. I don't even know where that comment comes from, but that's not. All right. So I am going to say goodbye now, because otherwise I'm going to be drawn into a little discussion. Would you guys like, I don't know if I've got the time or the stuff to do this. Would you guys like it if we tried to make a chat room for Transport Evolved? I mean, it's you know, it's something that I'm interested in. But you'd have to behave yourselves, and I'd need somebody to help up and step up, moderate. And one of the things that we're talking about now with Transport Evolved is we need you all to help out a little more with our support, our Patreons, etc., etc. I'm not drinking beer. I'm drinking Brew Doctor kombucha. Actually, I should probably tell you this. I have a strict no drinking policy. If I'm driving, you're not going to get me drinking. Booch. Yeah, I grow my own at home. I actually brew my own kombucha. I've got some scobies at home, and I'm making my own. And so I have kombucha sometimes in the afternoon. I treated myself to lunch today. I normally have a salad and what do we call it for breakfast? Soylent for breakfast, and then like a salad at lunch, and then an evening meal. But today I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out and have a sandwich from the local shop, and I bought some kombucha while I was out. So anyway, you know, Anonymous Freak, if you want to help me set up a Discord channel, go for it. Just ping me first. I haven't had any news on James. No. I eat people. Yeah, no, it's not quite. But yes, I know where it's from. Anyway, I have to go because I have a 4:30 appointment. So keep evolving. Support me on Patreon and all that, because we had so few people. Like, as a percentage, we had 900,000 people last month watch the channel, and we have like several hundred donate. So take care.